to the India Today Tamil Nadu First Conclave. I am Shweta Punch, Deputy Editor with India Today magazine and your host for the day. We are delighted to be here in Chennai that has been at the forefront of innovation and knowledge. Tamil Nadu is a fascinating from a political point of view, and it has piloted some of the most interesting innovations in the social development space. So it's our pleasure to be here, and through the day we have curated issues and conversations for you that we believe will shape the future of the state.
Good evening. As we discussed earlier also, in fact, in every session we have been highlighting this point that Tamil Nadu has this habit of making it to the number one, and tourism industry is no exception. If we look at the tourism industry report prepared by the Union Tourism Ministry, we'll see that in 2020-21, Tamil Nadu received the second highest number of domestic tourists and the highest number of international tourists in the country. But as we have seen in the last 2 years, because of the pandemic, the one industry which has been hit the hardest was the tourism industry. And the world is gradually limping back to normalcy. And tourism industry is also trying to cope with that change situation. And in Tamil Nadu, the government of Tamil Nadu has initiated several initiatives to boost up this tourism industry, and private sectors are also trying their best to create that infrastructure and the opportunities in a changed world, post-pandemic world, though we can't still say it's post-pandemic. So to discuss on all these issues, we have with us today Dr. B. Chandramohan, Principal Secretary to Government, Tourism, Culture and Religious Endowments and Chairman, Tamil Nadu Tourism Development Corporation. Would like to invite him to come on stage. We have with us also V Shriram, historian and heritage activist based in Chennai. And last but not the least, someone from the industry itself, Zubin Songadwala, Area Manager, Southern Region, ITC Hotels. Welcome, gentlemen. The India Today Tamil Nadu First, as the name is so appropriate that Tamil Nadu is first in everything. The Tamil Nadu government, as I read and I have heard in the media and from people also, that it has initiated several measures, like including 300 tourist spots you have identified to boost the infrastructure. You have identified new forms of tourism. You're focusing on Tamil Nadu Tourism Development Corporation is focusing on adventure tourism and all that. So these are new initiatives. At the same time, the old issues, as both gentlemen have mentioned, what is the comprehensive roadmap towards creating this tourism buzz in a, if I can say so, post-pandemic world?
Thank you so much. First of all, thank you for acknowledging that Tamil Nadu is number one in terms of tourist arrivals. In the last 5 years, except for 1 year, we were consistently number one in the number of domestic arrivals in the country. And except for 1 year again, we were, international arrivals also, we were number two and number one. My fellow panel mate said two very important things. That is, connectivity is very good in Tamil Nadu. But before even we speak about connectivity, law and order and safety of the tourist is of paramount importance. A well-administered state, good law and order, any tourist feels safe to come into the state. Coupled with good connectivity and a lot of heritage, be it religious heritage, spiritual heritage, hill stations, long coast, it provides for a multifarious diversity of tourist experiences, because of which this state is number one in attracting domestic arrivals. I do agree that pilgrimage or religious tourism is a large number or is a big part of our entire tourist experience. That is because the state has listed, monitored by the government, more than 44,000 temples which is perhaps the largest in any state in the whole country. So people naturally come to Tamil Nadu, the land of temples, for very divine experiences. The state government, understanding this, has now sought to enlarge the scope of tourism. We want people not only to come for religious tourism, but also spend more time doing other things which they can. Similarly, what we have done is we have taken, for example, Rameshwaram as a hub which attracts a lot of tourists. We have a beautiful experience there. We have some wonderful beaches which are very shallow. So we are promoting them as water sports destinations where people can come for sporting activities, people can come from pleasure activities and those kind of things. Similarly, in Rameshwaram again, there are other attractions we are trying to develop. That is one, the Gulf of Mannar, which has very good biodiversity. People can go snorkeling, people can go underwater diving, scuba diving and things like that. We are trying to develop the hub and spoke model of tourism, where an anchor destination will get a lot of other things developed around it, so that people, instead of spending 1 or 2 days, can spend 3 to 4 days in that particular place. That's the first thing. Second thing we are doing is, times are changing. From destinations, people are seeking experiences. So we are now introducing newer sectors of tourism. For example, adventure tourism. People want to seek different kinds of thrills and they want to go through certain activities which will give them exhilaration. So we have identified adventure tourism as a big thrust area and developing various hubs in the state. Because they also involve some risk and they have to be regulated, the state government is very shortly issuing detailed guidelines for safety protocols for adventure tourism. We are also promoting bed and breakfast and homestays. That also is getting. Third one is caravan tourism and third one is water sports. So all these different sectors, we are laying down guidelines which will enable the tourists not only to have a good experience but also a safe experience. Similarly, I think Shriram, actually we did a heritage walk recently and it was a very nice experience. His point about temples have to give more information about their heritage, about their mythology to the devotees. Every temple now in the HRNC department, we have come up with a system where the temple will educate or will showcase whatever heritage that temple has to offer for the devotees. Each temple has a website that completely involves everything, and also people can just pick up flyers in the temple about the temple. So this is all work in progress and we are attending to that. Please.
Okay, you talked about providing experience to people. People are now looking for experience. Now that also means that you would need a lot of skilled manpower. I have heard that Tamil Nadu Tourism Department, they are introducing certain programs also to create that skilled manpower. But do you have enough talent pool and one program or two programs, will that help? And at the same time, there is a language issue that we always hear about southern parts of India, that not knowing Hindi. So that may create problem in catering to people who are not fluent in English from other parts of India. So how are you approaching these challenges?
It's a good question, but if you go to any tourist place in Tamil Nadu, I think you will never find that language is a problem, because invariably wherever there is economic growth, wherever there is economic opportunity, people do learn multiple languages. And I'm sure in many places people are able to converse in multiple languages. Apart from that, the Tamil Nadu Tourism Development Corporation is working with the Skill Development Corporation to develop a skilled manpower for the state. In fact, the Institute for Hotel Management, which is based out of Chennai, is ranked consistently in the top 5 in the whole country. Apart from that, we are working with adventure operator associations, trade associations to develop those skills, because they are little specialized skills. That is currently also happening. Another very important sector we are promoting is, right now the government made out a policy for that, is plantation tourism. The tea estates, the coffee estates and the rubber estates actually are beautiful. And people would like to just go there, stay for some time, go on a trek, see bird watching, take a walk. This kind of tourism is actually finding a lot of traction. So government has enabled by a policy decision for this particular sector to grow, and we are increasingly working with plantation owners to make it happen.
I wish I could continue this discussion, but already our time is up, and Sweta is already on stage. So that's a clear indication.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much. You raised some very important points. I would like to share with this august audience that for the first time, Tamil Nadu government is bringing out a Tamil Nadu tourism promotion policy, and one of the aspects that which this policy is going to address is giving industry status to the hospitality industry. That's number one. Number two, it is also going to clearly provide three kinds of investments. One, what the private sector is supposed to do. One, the public-private partnership. And a very important other category is what government will be doing in terms of improving the experiences in various destinations. For each of these, there is a set of incentives, facilitation frameworks that are being put in place. Very shortly, this is going to be put in place, and it will help the hospitality industry to take off to the next level. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
I had a series of questions, but we have already run out of time. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here, participating in this discussion, and we are very happy that here is a government who would like to speak more. Thank you so much.
Thank you. In fact, that's been a long-standing demand of the tourism industry to be recognized as an industry amongst a lot of players across the country. Can I please invite Mr. Karasu and Mr. Balachandram to please come on stage and felicitate our guests. A big round of applause for our esteemed panelists.